Have you ever felt like something was missing? Like no matter what you accomplish, there's still a quiet emptiness inside? That feeling you can't quite name? The ache that lingers when the noise fades and you're finally alone with your thoughts? That's not failure. It's not weakness. It's your soul trying to speak. You were created for more than just surviving. You were created for connection. And not just any connection, but a deep, personal, life-giving relationship with the one who made you. Every human heart is wired to seek meaning. We try to find it in relationships, in success, in recognition, even in distraction. We keep moving, chasing, building, hoping that if we run fast enough, we'll outrun the emptiness. But the truth is, you weren't designed to be filled by things that fade. You were designed to be filled by God. That longing in your heart is not a flaw. It's a compass, and it's pointing you home. God is not distant. He's not silent. He's not waiting for you to be perfect. He's been with you in every moment, in the heartbreaks, the confusion, the victories, and even the silence. He's not just watching your life. He wants to be part of it. And he's not asking you to fix yourself before coming to him. He's simply asking you to come. That first step toward him is where everything begins. Not religion, not performance, relationship. Faith doesn't start with understanding. It starts with a decision to believe that your life was never meant to be lived alone. That you don't have to carry everything by yourself. That there's a power greater than your fear, greater than your failure, and greater than your past. God is offering you that power, not just to change your circumstances, but to change you from the inside out. This isn't about rules. This is about freedom, real peace, lasting joy, strength in the middle of the storm. When you connect with God, you gain something the world can't give and nothing can take away. A steady foundation, a reason to hope. P.E. A purpose worth living for. That's the reward. That's why you must keep going. Because the life you're looking for isn't out there somewhere. It's found in him. So if your heart is tired, if your mind is overwhelmed, if your soul is hungry, this is your moment. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait to feel ready. You were made for this. You were made for more, the deeper connection, the stronger faith, the unshakable peace. It's all available to you right here, right now. Stay with me because what comes next will show you exactly how to take that first step. Simple steps, powerful changes, and a connection with God that can transform everything. Your life is not an accident. Your desire to go deeper is not random. It's divine, and it's leading you towards something beautiful. Don't ignore the pull. Lean into it. Keep listening. Keep walking. The journey to a stronger faith starts now. You don't need to have it all together to begin. You just need to begin. Faith isn't something you stumble into overnight. It's something you build one moment at a time. It's not loud. It's not always emotional. Sometimes it's as quiet as showing up, sitting still, opening your heart when everything in you wants to shut down. That's where real strength is forged. Not in the spotlight, but in the silence. In the private moments no one else sees. That's where your faith grows roots. Start small. Wake up with intention. Set aside just a few minutes, not out of duty, but out of desire. Find a quiet space, free of distraction. Sit, breathe, speak honestly. That's prayer. It doesn't need to sound perfect. It just needs to be real. Tell God where you are, confused, tired, grateful, afraid. Whatever it is, bring it. He meets you in honesty, not performance. He listens, not for the polished words, but for the open heart. Faith begins when you decide to trust something bigger than yourself. When you say, I don't know everything, but I know I need you. That one sentence sees and change everything. Because when you allow God into your daily rhythm, your entire life begins to shift. You see with new eyes. You move with new strength. You live with new purpose. It's not about adding another task to your day. It's about aligning your life with the one who gives it meaning. This isn't a one-time experience. It's a daily choice. And the more you choose it, the more your faith expands. It deepens. It solidifies. It becomes part of who you are. You start to recognize his voice in the middle of your thoughts. You start to feel his peace even when things don't make sense. That's not a coincidence. That's connection. That's the fruit of showing up again and again, even when it's hard. Consistency builds relationship. And relationship is where trust grows. Think about it. Every meaningful connection in your life took time. Faith is no different. You can't rush it, but you can build it. And the best part, you don't have to do it alone. God doesn't demand perfection. He honors pursuit. He honors presence. Every time you come to Him, you're building something eternal, something no one can take from you. So don't underestimate the power of small beginnings. Don't dismiss the quiet moments. They matter, they count, and they are the foundation of the unshakable life you're craving. Faith isn't about being fearless. It's about choosing to keep walking even when fear whispers. It's about trusting that God is who He says He is. Even when your feelings say otherwise, your soul is ready for more. It's time to build the connection that lasts. Time to plant the seeds that grow into strength, clarity, and peace. Keep showing up. Keep pressing in. You're not just building a habit, you're building a life. One that's grounded in faith, guided by truth, and powered by the presence of God. Even as you begin to build your faith, there will be resistance. Not from God, but from the noise around you, and sometimes the noise within. Distraction is everywhere. It calls your name through your phone, your schedule, your worries, your doubts. It pulls your focus away from the eternal and into the temporary. And if you're not intentional, that noise will slowly drown out the voice of God. Not because He's gone silent, but because your soul has forgotten how to be still. That's why clarity begins with discipline. A disciplined mind creates space for a faithful heart. You have to fight for that space, not once, but daily, because the enemy of connection isn't always evil. It's often just busy. It's the constant scroll, the endless notifications, the pressure to do more, be more, prove more. But your worth doesn't come from how much you do. It comes from who you belong to. And when you belong to God, you don't need to chase validation. You simply return to the truth you've already received. When doubt creeps in, don't run from it. Don't shame yourself for feeling uncertain. Doubt isn't the end of faith. It's the doorway to deeper faith. Bring your questions to God. He's not offended by your honesty. He's not surprised by your struggle. In fact, that's often where He meets you most powerfully, in the moments when your strength runs out and all you have left is a quiet, trembling hope. That hope is enough, because faith doesn't need to be loud to be real. It just needs to be alive. The breakthrough you're searching for doesn't start when you finally feel spiritual. It starts when you choose to stay. Stay when it's quiet. Stay when it's uncomfortable. Stay when everything in you wants to quit. That choice, that commitment is where your roots grow deeper. It's where trust is formed. And trust is what carries you when emotion fades. You were not created to live in confusion. You were not designed to be overwhelmed by the world. You were created to walk in clarity, in power, and in divine purpose. But clarity doesn't come through noise. It comes through surrender, through silence, through choosing to focus on what truly matters. And what matters most is your connection with God. So begin clearing the space. Cut out the things that drain you. Say no to what numbs you. Create moments of stillness and guard them fiercely, because in those moments you will begin to hear again, not with your ears, but with your spirit. You'll hear peace where there was panic. You'll hear truth where there was confusion. And most importantly, you'll hear the voice of the one who knows you fully and loves you still. Don't underestimate what happens in the quiet. That's where transformation begins. That's where doubt turns into confidence. That's where your faith becomes unshakable. The distractions will come, but now you know what to do. Refocus, realign, return. God hasn't moved. He's still here, waiting, speaking, calling you deeper. Keep listening. There is a moment when you realize that all your striving hasn't brought the peace you hoped for, that no matter how hard you try to control everything, it never feels like enough. That moment is not the end. It's the beginning of surrender, the beginning of transformation. Because true freedom doesn't come when you get everything you want. It comes when you finally let go of the need to control what was never yours to carry. Surrender isn't weakness. It's the highest form of strength. It's the choice to release your grip, not out of fear, but out of trust. Trust that God's plan is better than your pressure. That His timing is wiser than your deadlines. That His purpose is deeper than your preferences. Surrender means placing your whole life, your hopes, your wounds, your failures, your dreams into hands far more capable than your own. It's not giving up. It's giving over. And that shift changes everything. You were never created to carry the weight of the world. That's why it crushes you. That's why your heart feels heavy when you try to fix what only God can heal. But when you surrender, when you stop trying to force outcomes and start trusting divine timing, your soul finally breathes again. You step out of anxiety and into peace, not because the storm has stopped, but because you're no longer trying to control the wind. There's power in saying, I don't know how, but I trust you. That single decision made in the middle of uncertainty has the power to shift the atmosphere of your entire life. When you surrender, you make room for miracles. You stop relying on your own limited strength and start walking in supernatural strength. The kind that holds you when everything else feels like it's falling apart. The kind that reminds you again and again that you're not alone. Let go of the fear that keeps you stuck. Let go of the guilt that says you're not worthy. Let go of the pressure to be everything for everyone. You don't have to prove your value. You already have it. God sees you. He knows you. And still He loves you. Not when you're perfect right now, in this moment, as you are. This is your turning point. The place where fear ends and faith begins. The place where you stop trying to do life alone. Surrender is not a one-time decision. It's a daily posture. It's waking up and choosing again to release control, to trust, to follow, even when the path ahead is unclear. That's how faith is built. That's how peace is found. Everything you've been trying to hold together, lay it down. Not because you're quitting, but because you're rising. Rising into a new way of living, a lighter way, a freer way. This is the power of surrender, and it will lead you exactly where you were always meant to be, closer to God, stronger in faith, and anchored in unshakable peace. When you surrender, you don't disappear. You finally begin to live. You stop surviving by your own strength and start thriving in God's presence. And the most powerful way to stay connected to that presence is through prayer. Not the kind that's reserved for crisis or ceremony, but a daily personal rhythm of conversation with your Creator. Prayer is not a religious routine. It's a lifeline. It's how your spirit breathes. It's how your heart heals. It's how your mind renews itself in truth. Prayer is not about finding the perfect words. It's about showing up with an honest heart. Some days your words may be bold. Other days they may be broken. But every word matters. Every silent cry, every whispered hope, every desperate plea, it all reaches the heart of God. You don't have to sound holy. You don't have to feel strong. You just have to be real. Because real connection is born in real honesty. That's where God meets you, not in your performance, but in your presence. Make prayer your anchor. Let it be the first thing you run to, not the last thing you fall back on. The more you pray, the more your inner world aligns with divine truth. You begin to hear differently, see differently, respond differently. You no longer live at the mercy of your emotions or your circumstances. You live from a deeper place, a place of wisdom, peace, and clarity. That's the power of staying connected. That's the gift of communion with God. This connection isn't meant to be occasional. It's meant to be constant. A daily flow, a continual returning, a rhythm that becomes your way of life. You don't need a perfect schedule or a quiet room to pray. You can pray in the middle of traffic, in the middle of stress, in the middle of your ordinary day. Prayer is not confined to a moment. It's invited into every moment. Because God doesn't just want part of your life. He wants to walk with you through all of it. The more you include God in your day, the more your faith becomes real. It moves from something you believe to something you live. It becomes your lens, your foundation, your strength. You don't have to face the world alone. You don't have to fight every battle in your own strength. Through prayer, you are never without guidance, never without comfort, never without power. So build this rhythm. Act it. Prioritize it, not out of pressure, but out of hunger. Let prayer be the space where your soul resets, where your identity is restored, and where your fears are surrendered. Because every time you pray, you remind your heart who's really in control. And in that reminder, you find peace, you find perspective, you find power. This is how faith becomes unshakable, not through grand moments, but through daily connection. Keep praying, keep trusting, keep walking, because every moment with God changes something in you, and that change is leading you somewhere greater. The greatest transformation in your faith will not come from a single moment. It will come from what you choose to do every single day. Growth is not a feeling, it's a decision. A quiet, steady decision to stay close to God when everything in the world tries to pull you away. A decision to return to prayer when you feel too tired, too distracted, or too distant. This is where real strength is formed. Not in emotion, but in consistency. Not in ease, but in persistence. You were not created to drift. You were created to stand. And when you cultivate a daily lifestyle of prayer and connection, you anchor your life in something eternal. Your faith stops being reactive and starts becoming proactive. You stop waiting for peace to arrive. You begin to carry it with you. You stop chasing clarity. You start living from it. That's the shift that changes everything. When God becomes your first response instead of your last resort, everything in your life begins to align with purpose. Don't wait for a crisis to connect. Don't let your faith become something you only reach for when everything falls apart. Make it your foundation, your atmosphere, your normal. Let your relationship with God grow deeper in the mundane, not just in the miraculous. It's in those small, private moments, the ones no one else sees, where you're truly formed. That is where your roots sink deep. That is where your identity is reefed in. The world will always offer substitutes, noise, distraction, false promises of peace, but nothing can take the place of the quiet strength that comes from walking closely with God. You don't need louder answers. You need a deeper connection. You need to be reminded of who you are and whose you are. That reminder comes not from the world, but from His presence. And when you stay in that presence, you stop living on edge. You stop striving. You start abiding. Build your day around God, not just with scheduled moments, but with continual awareness. Let prayer flow naturally. Let gratitude rise frequently. Let truth be your filter. Let silence be sacred. This is how your life begins to shift. Not by trying harder, but by staying closer. Not by doing more, but by being more connected. The power isn't in the performance. The power is in the presence. This is how you protect your peace. This is how you strengthen your faith. This is how you become unshakable. When your heart becomes a place where God is welcome every day, not just occasionally, when prayer becomes as normal as breathing and faith becomes as real as the ground beneath your feet, you don't have to chase what's already yours. Just return to it. Come back to the presence, back to the stillness, back to the source. Everything you need flows from that connection. And when you choose to build your life around it, nothing can shake what's rooted in truth. Keep showing up, keep seeking, keep becoming. You were made for this. If you truly want a stronger faith, you must stop waiting to feel ready and start choosing to live ready. Readiness isn't a feeling, it's a mindset, a posture of the heart that says, I will show up even when I don't feel it. I will trust even when I can't see it. I will pray even when I hear nothing. That kind of faith doesn't come from comfort. It comes from commitment. And that commitment becomes a weapon against everything trying to steal your peace, your focus, your identity. You don't grow by staying safe. You grow by stepping deeper, deeper into truth, deeper into surrender, deeper into connection. That means choosing to believe before you understand, choosing to obey before you see results, choosing to trust when it would be easier to walk away. That's what separates passive belief from living faith. Faith that moves mountains. Faith that transforms you from the inside out. God isn't looking for perfection. He's looking for presence. He wants your heart, not your highlight reel. And when you bring Him your real self, flawed, tired, unsure, He meets you with grace that strengthens, love that restores, and power that lifts you higher than you thought you could stand. That's not religion. That's relationship. That's what your soul has been craving all along. This is where you stop waiting to feel close to God and start creating closeness through devotion, through discipline, through the decision to stay when it feels easier to quit. Because faith isn't something that finds you. Faith is something you build. One choice, one moment, one prayer at a time. And the more you build it, the more unshakable you become. Don't let emotion lead your faith. Let truth lead it. Because emotion will rise and fall, but truth never changes. And the truth is, You are not forgotten. You are not alone. You are not too far gone. Every second you choose to seek God, you're stepping further into who you were created to be. Every time you turn your heart toward Him, heaven moves closer. Not because God ever left, but because your awareness finally awakened. So stand up inside yourself. Decide that your life will be built on something deeper than convenience. Let your character be shaped by commitment. Let your joy be rooted in presence, not performance. This is how warriors are formed, not through applause, but through surrender, not through spotlight, but through unseen moments of obedience when no one is watching but God. Your faith is not fragile. It just needs your attention. Your spirit is not weak. It just needs your consistency. You don't need to do more. You need to come closer. And the more you come close, the more you change, the more you let go of what world told you to be and step into what God has called you to become. This is the path to a stronger faith. This is the power of connection. Choose it, own it, walk in it, starting now.